Hi, Cancer. I want to say so many things at once, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do my best to let it all come out. So this month I'm doing a different spread. It's something that I do a lot. It's called the compass spread. And there's a section for the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit, and then the central focus, which is the compass, which is the center. So there'll be 5 cards that will be directing you. This month from you will be a great time to release. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's like an overall, sense of relief for you if you let it be. Like if you let yourself relax, enjoy, and de-stress. So Virgo season for you can be an extremely healing month, especially in terms of whatever it is that you, and a lot of people for their bodies, because that's what Virgo, a lot of Earth focuses on, but especially Virgo, is that whatever you've been dealing with your body, for a lot of you, it's going to start to be put behind you this month. Virgo season is going to make it very apparent to you that you are learning from how you've maybe misused it, overused it in the past. And it sounds like I'm making you and your body disconnected. You are connected to your body. You are your body essentially, but we need to understand that our body is a vehicle. And especially for you, for someone who extends themselves or who can extend themselves in so many different ways and areas of your life, it's really important, because what happens then to your mind, your brilliant creative mind, you can block the pathways that are necessary to guide you forward, and by not doing what's best for your body. And for some of you, it's by doing exactly the opposite than you've been doing. So if you haven't been resting, it's taking action. If you haven't been taking action and moving it, it's about resting it this month. So, and I don't think there's many in between for many of you. For a lot of you, this is going to be a chill month for you. Some of you are going to want to take yourself out of any situation that you get too stuck in your head about, because your heart's in this very content place. You're in a place in your life where you are feeling content. You're not feeling, this month is not agitating to you in terms of how you love, how you choose to love, who you choose to be around. It's more agitating in the sense of, okay, my body I'm learning something here, how to use this. My mind seems to be really tired, but I have energy. This is the focus. Virgo season makes it very clear about long-term plans for everyone. You having the 10 of Cups come out right after the 9 of Cups is like basically letting your heart guide you. If your heart needs to go somewhere, go. If you need to say no to something, say no. If you need to even drastically change how you decide to view things, this month will be behind you. The center focus is the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords have come out a lot, especially in the spirit, for quite a few signs. She's been out. It's like Libra season. Libra season is already saying, hey guys, how you handle this month will be very clear of what comes next, because this month is like, there's a lot going on this month, but there's a sense of ease, because the next few months, it's like, usually you're preparing for Virgo season, but Virgo season is preparing you for what's to come next. And it's up to you how you decide to handle that this month. And a lot of times with Virgo, you have to do the complete opposite or face things like right head on. So more than ever, you need your heart to guide you. Because regardless, Virgo season is going to bring up moments of being in the head, being stuck there, not knowing where to go, not knowing how to get out of it. Because the spirit, the overall like arching spiritual message here is that you're learning to have a lot more faith in yourself, faith in what's happening, and in the power of your emotions. Because you're you understand certain things, but there's a certain discipline, there's a certain very strong compass and focus that you have that is so beautiful that even if you have a lot going on up here, you're still moving forward. It's you, like the water never stops running unless again there's a dam, but the river never stops flowing. And right now there may be an overflowing where some of you may really desperately need nature right now, or desperately need time away from your normal routine. Like usually Virgo has that routine based structure, but it doesn't have to be that rigid every day. And this month for you is great to move around that structure. Make a little bit more flexibility for your life, and see how that works for you. A lot of you will have a major release this month. And I actually wrote on a post today is that, I'm not going to say exactly the same, I don't think, but there's a certain fight for everyone this month. And sometimes the hardest fight is to surrender. Most signs have to surrender in your sign, and when we're in your sign. Surrender to what Cancer season and where it's bringing you, because the current is going to drive you no matter what. And Virgo season's doing that for you. You have to go with it this month, more than ever. It's going to actually, it's like I see this like, the more you go and do what you do, and again, that could essentially for some of you mean rest, but the more you do what you do, the more you pull away, the more that all of that starts to clear up. You have emotional releases. You may have this is a very spiritual month for everyone in terms of like having their body connect them to spirit. You may have a very, very, very spiritual moment of just by the end of the month. For some of you, you're starting a whole new life with someone. For some of you, you're starting a whole new life and talking about the future. And it may seem like it's happening quickly, but it's not. You've been preparing for it for a long time. Some of you are putting up a lot of, like, very heavy on the spiritual boundaries. And I'm being drawn to the clouds. Allow yourself to dream and put your head into the clouds a little bit too. Especially if you're, like, doing things that you normally don't do. Like, allow yourself to go all the way into that. Some of you may end up creating something or a plan for something that's really, really important for the rest of your life, or like at least the next few years. I know it sounds like a lot, but at least the next few years. It'll roll out and become something that you might not even realize it was gonna become that. And that's the beauty, is that you never really know, but you know. So it's allowing yourself to flow with the release. Because whatever's in your mind, it's like it needs this. It's like, I'm going to say it needs a brainwash. It's not like you're being brainwashed, but you need to rinse it out. And you get to. You really do. And you may find yourself around people this month, but feeling that sense of independence at the same time. And if you're asked, like, allow yourself to be social. Like, for some of you, like, be like chill. Like, be around people who just want to chill, or just up for like the flow that you're in right now. So like only connecting with those who are really on your wave and your frequency at the moment. How do you know that? When you ask for it, it usually just aligns. So just like notice how you feel when you're being contacted by someone. Notice what comes up when you want to contact with someone. Is it like, are you trying to force this? Is this something you actually want to do? Because normally that will extend a lot more energy than just like hanging out with someone who you could be super chill with, and it doesn't have to be anything or whatever. And that's kind of a new adventure for you too at that, because your mind is coming out of this very dark place. And there's been something very stuck. It's so interesting because it's so opposite of what Gemini does, which is very interesting. overall, this really rooted sense of joy, like this spiritual joy, comes over you this month. It may feel like your mind might want to bring you to doomsday as if it's going to be over soon, but it's like, allow yourself to expand in it this month. Like, be so relaxed in that space where you never forget. You'll never forget what that feels like. Allow it to sink into your body. Because that's something that sometimes you may struggle with, is like not allowing yourself to really soak those moments in where you can relive them and feel them again. Not in a way that causes nostalgia or depression, but in a way that reminds you that this is always possible. That your body may feel a certain way right now, but it will change as long as you begin to listen. And it may be a slower process than you realize, but again, we're in that long-term run right now. So how can you enjoy it, and how can you meet it along the way? Like, don't turn your back to it. But for some of you, you may have to put up really strong boundaries with people and who you want to be around and who you don't want to be around, especially this month. That's huge. Be social, but really, really choosy about who you want to be around, about how you want to spend your time. Okay? So all information to work with me is below, and to work with me one-on-one. And this is the first part, so the next part we'll look at the cards, and you'll see, for those of you who are curious about that. Okay? I'll see you next month, Cancer. Hi, Cancer. A couple times before I even was able to actually start this, I kept calling you Taurus. So for some of you, normally that makes a reader say, go watch the Taurus reading. You guys I've purposely paired you guys up, like when I put out videos throughout this whole year too. There's just something about the vibe, and I know it looks very different, but I just highly recommend that. Or if you have a Taurus in your life, they might be really influential or important for you, and vice versa. So there's that. This is the body section, the mind, the heart, the spirit, and then the center focus of the compass. I'm being drawn to the center in the beginning, where it's really important for you to have really strong boundaries, especially with how you treat your body right now, because we talked about it before, but things better now, and like when you actually act upon that, and I know this from experience, so this is my own thing, and also it just makes sense, but also, you could have heard this somewhere else, but like and because a lot of it is for you is emotional, so like when there's certain emotions that arise within you or whatever, it's time to choose different. So even though you may want to force something to work, it just doesn't work that way, because you're a cardinal sign, and force, being water, forces the rock to carve. It's like a natural instinct for you, and sometimes it's just like you're hitting your head against a wall. So if your body is saying no to something or someone, or you feel a certain way and you get a certain emotion, meaning more of a negative one at this sense, then it's time for you to really put up that very strong boundary of saying no. Then notice how your body feels, because you listen to that heart-centered place and that voice that's very, very clear. Judgment on the bottom of the deck. It's very, very clear that your body's going to give you the direct answers this month. It's just, and it may feel hard at first because it may hurt your brain. You may be like, oh, I didn't realize this was happening. And it's something that you're usually aware of, but you're just like, you have such a broad range of emotions. You are able to, you're someone who like almost forces themselves to expand, in the sense to accept everyone, being the mother. And you can do that with boundaries. And I think that's really, really strong right now too, because the Queen of Swords has come out in a lot of readings, and it's like already preparing us for Libra season, because the rest of the year is going to be hard. And you already know that innately, so I think this month you really need to take it off from like everything and everyone, especially your own brain. Because truthfully, when you relax into your spirit and into that heart-centered place, when you really get relaxed, which I believe is the most truth we could ever be in, is when we're completely relaxed in ourselves, regardless if there's chronic illness or pains that you have. you're still able to relax to a certain extent. And each time you're able to relax more, you'll realize how relaxed you really weren't. And this month is asking you to really, like, this is a very yogic reading. I have been a yoga teacher for a long time. I've studied yoga for a long time. But this is like a very yogic reading, I would say. And it's just about really being grounded and sinking yourself into the earth, in your body this month. Because if you don't, the repercussions are going to come up right when we hit Libra season. Libras know this, and you're a cardinal sign, but Libras know this more than anything. And if you have Libra in your chart, that might be really important to some of you, is that karma comes quick. And if we have not learned anything from the past year, it's that nothing's hidden anymore. But I really do feel like for most of you, it's like you're just like kind of fed up anyway. And like there might be an actual physical situation that leads you to that point, but that's sometimes what's necessary. And it's going to be from someone who probably loves you and really needs to tell you what you need to hear. And it's you're actually in a place where you're willing to receive that. And that is a very important boundary to have, you know? So like there you see that positive side of your boundaries that are very strong, and then now it's just implementing them. And it doesn't have to be forever, but for Virgo season, because it will teach you something great throughout whatever is going to roll out for the year to come for you. And a lot of you are going to become very clear and realize you may even find immense gratitude by sinking into this month. Some of you will have tears of joy. And some of you will begin to even experience some of you it's like about your ancestors specifically, and about what they wanted for you as opposed to what you want for you. And as we know, like your ancestors who have died only want what's the ultimate best for you. And it's like because you're able to sink in, and because sinking into these boundaries, may feel weird against your nature at first, which would be for everyone. You're not the only one who experiences that, but it's so much more because of how much you're able to hold and the kind of family-oriented person. But this is going to make it very clear on what it's supposed to really look like for you. And it's hard at first, but just trust the process, because you'll realize some people you may grow a stronger relationship with. And some people you'll realize it was never really strong in the first place. It was just based off of whatever it was based off of. And there's like an acceptance that's coming of that. And this is hard. I know that this is not easy, especially for you. It's very airy. Look at this month. There's cups, but like that's in that fullness, that richness that is your heart. And that your spirit, like they're full on all the time, regardless if you're doing something that someone or saying something that someone else thinks is whatever, you're in that place. But now like your brain, your body need to rest because they're purifying. Virgo season is purifying those very physical parts of you, because the spiritual parts they're never really like, they get out of balance with you for sure, but like it's just a part of you. It's a part of your nature to be there. But these other parts really need a break. Some of you legit might need silence. Like to go be quiet. And then you might find yourself in the extreme of really wanting to go out. And I remember in the beginning, that's what we talked about, but you're going to really, or is that in Leo reading? I'm sorry. You will feel very social by the end of the month towards Libra season. But if you feel that strong urge to be quiet, don't resist it. Because again, when you stop resisting the thing you really need, you may not even need it for long. And actually the feeling or the sensation might not even last long. Like it's just that surrender to it that feels so difficult when we don't want to listen to something other than our own self and ego. Right? I think this is a beautiful month for you. Sink in is what I'm going to call it. All right, Cancer, all the information to work with me is below. Thank you so much for your support. This is your Virgo reading, September 2021, and I will see you next month.